Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, HARE&FORBES Machinery House, RYCO Filters, Evans Waterless Coolants, and Pace Farm.
Hello and welcome to this very special episode of Classic Restos here in Adelaide in South Australia, representing one of the largest motoring cruise events that this country has to offer, the 2017 Bay to Birdwood. And you will see more right after this.
It's thanks to Shannons. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannons Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. And HARE&FORBES has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au.
The amazing Bay to Birdwood, it's etched itself into a motoring must-dos as a worldly event, not just from a spectator's perspective, but from an entrance level as well, now attracting international enthusiasts. Now, breakfast with the cars has always been a Bay to Birdwood tradition. After all, I get looked after and I'll travel miles for a free feed. Sorry? The breakfasts are $12.50. One of the world's great historic motoring events, the annual Bay to Birdwood. Entries are open to all original cars, motorcycles, vans, trucks and commercial vehicles built on or after the 1st of July 1956 and on or before the 31st of December 1981. The inaugural Bay to Birdwood was held in 1980 and the event has since become a fixture on the South Australian events calendar. The principal stakeholders of the Bay to Birdwood are the National Motor Museum, a museum of the History Trust of South Australia, and the Federation of Historic Motoring Clubs. In fact, the event's longevity and success can be attributed to vision and the ongoing commitment to these key organisations. Over 75,000 people will participate today, and the people of Adelaide have embraced the Bay to Birdwood for over 37 years now. For many, it's an opportunity to drive and display their passion, and for others looking on, it's a chance to cheer these temporary vehicle custodians as they parade from the coast up into the Adelaide Hills, and what magnificent hills they are. It all starts at West Beach from around 6 a.m, where the vehicles and up to 5,000 people gather. It's then a 70-kilometre journey, taking in towns such as Inglewood and Chain of Ponds, with all participating vehicles finishing at the National Motor Museum in Birdwood, and some 10,000 people will gather for the festivities. At 8:30 a.m, the vehicles are waved off from the start by legendary flagmaster Glenn Dix. And here is what Glenn had to say. Glenn Dix, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks, Fletch. And this will be my 21st Bay to Birdwood. And I've done all sorts of other things, right from billy carts down to Formula Ones.
I believe for over 60 years, Glenn.
64 years, that's a fair effort, I think.
It's a long time to be turning up and waving the flag.
Well, it is, but okay, if you can do something that makes some people happy or somebody happy,
yes,
or be excited about what's going on,
yes,
I believe you've achieved something. And in over 64 years, I've done all sorts of motorsport.
You've absolutely hit the nail on the head. Glenn, tell us quickly, the emotional side, or the Bay to Birdwood, what does it mean to you to start this actual event?
To think that so many people look after vehicles and care about vehicles and care about the history of cars and motorsport, I think that's the greatest thing.
The route comprises suburbs, city and lower hills, and the 1,750 vehicles comprise an incredible array of classic cars, motorbikes, trucks and military vehicles. The Bay to Birdwood is one of the greatest and much loved events on the South Australian calendar, and of course the finish showcases no greater than the National Motor Museum at Birdwood. Here the finish is a colourful event with live music, fashions in the field and judging of the Concours D'elegance and preservation class vehicles. 1,750 classic vehicles gathered in one place, nestled in a picturesque backdrop of green hills, and everyone in a festive mood. Well, it's always a fantastic sight.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Evans waterless engine coolant. Simple to install and stays good for the life of the engine. Suitable for all engine types, Evans contains no water, eliminating corrosion, vapour pressure and overheating. With a boiling point of 190 degrees Celsius, there's no application or environment too extreme. evanscoolants.com.au. Water for drinking, Evans for cooling.
Australia's changed over the last 80 years, and RYCO Filters has changed with it. But one thing stayed the same: RYCO's commitment to develop and test all our filters under Australian conditions. Today, we're proudly celebrating our 80-year commitment to a design philosophy that ensures all oil, air and fuel filters meet or exceed vehicle manufacturers' specifications, delivering genuine quality and performance you can trust. RYCO Filters, the professional's choice.
HARE&FORBES Machinery House has been family owned and operated for over 85 years, and it's easy to see why. And with a range like this, you cannot go wrong. Planning on welding? Look at these welding tables and clamps, air compressors and different air tools, sandblasting cabinets, through to spray guns. Everyone is welcome at Machinery House, and they're also open Saturday mornings. Their range of machine tools are workshop tested. There are competitive freight rates around Australia, and you can buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. So remember, HARE&FORBES has the range. Well, here we are, we've arrived at the National Motor Museum here in Birdwood, South Australia. It's time now to get around and catch up with some of the entrants that have taken part in this sensational 2017 Bay to Birdwood event. What an incredible event this is. Hello, Jim.
Hello, Fletch.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
That is great. Thought I'd start the ball rolling today. An incredibly original 1968 HK Premier. What a beautiful car.
Thank you. It's a survivor, as they say.
Mate, you've come a long way, or your club's come a long way, right?
Yes, we have. We put these cars on a truck and rail and sent them across from WA, and have been having a great time touring through the hills in Adelaide. It's beautiful.
Isn't that incredible? See the power of the Bay to Birdwood. It brings people from all over Australia, and every year it's growing. It's just one of those star attractions, and as you alluded to, Jim, driving through that countryside, how beautiful is that?
It's fantastic, you know. It's close to the city, it's undulating, it's scenic, it's beautiful.
Well, it's not about the destination in most cases, it's about the journey, isn't it?
It's about the drive, really, Fletch.
It is. Now tell us about this beautiful 68.
Well, this 68, I bought it out of a private collection. We've had it for about 14 years. It's going to clock 100,000 miles when we drive back across the Nullarbor, which, you know, I'm not looking forward to that.
100,000 for the old girl, you know, that's not too bad really. I mean, that's not a lot of miles for its age. The thing is too, well, it goes without saying that it hasn't had a hard life. What's the history before you got the car, Jim?
The car was manufactured in Melbourne, and it spent the early years up in around the Echuca area, and a collector from WA got hold of it and put it into his private collection. He had one of every model Premier and was looking to offload this one, so I saw it and jumped on it.
Now, Jim, the 186S with a 2-speed power glide. Now, before we mentioned much more about the transmission, but a 186S for a Premier. Now, was that a bit of a rare option?
It was a fairly rare option, I think, you know, in those days. You didn't see too many 186S's around.
Or the 2 doors, weren't they?
They were more the 2 doors, yes. And so, yeah, it's been a sort of a different car. It's a rare motor car, if you like, yes.
And the 2-speed power glide, that transitional period with the Trimatic as well. I mean, what a time. I mean, that 2-speed was just so legendary for General Motors, wasn't it?
It was, and, you know, I'm in awe, really, when I drive it, because it just shifts into top gear and there it stays.
Some special features about this car too, Jim, obviously being the Premier. The rear spats there, or wheel covers as they're called in the United States. And of course the black vinyl roof really sets it off as well.
Yes, it does look quite elegant, and the spats on the rear wheels do set it off nicely. And by the way, Fletch, I made them. You know, I got a pattern and made them, and I've put a set on the other car as well when I restored it.
Geez, mate, you would have made a great dressmaker.
I would have, yeah.
you and your patterns. Well, I think that's very innovative, Jim. Thank you so much for being on this special episode of Classic Restos here at Birdwood. And the preservation of your car is fantastic. And also the row of them here representing your car club too. I reckon that looks so cool.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we've come a long way to be here, and so far we've really enjoyed ourselves in Adelaide.
Okay, give your car club a mention on the website.
Our car club is the Holden Car Club of WA, and this is our second time we've been represented here. Thank you, Fletch.
Good on you, Jim. Well done, mate. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
With me now, the director of the National Motor Museum here in Birdwood, Paul Rees. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. You've done it again. I was here not long ago. We're back on the grounds. It just keeps getting better and better here.
We can't help ourselves. We just keep on putting on really good events.
There you go. Absolutely. I can't believe how far back the cars are.
I know. 1,750. Maximum capacity we can take has been entered this year.
There's no doubt about it. It's the big daddy, this event, isn't it?
Well, it's one of the great historic motoring events in the world, the Bay to Birdwood. It's no doubt about it. Yep. It's just the community embraces it. The National Motor Museum loves it when the citizen collectors bring their vehicles out and show them off on our grounds. Yep. Beautiful grounds, beautiful cars, beautiful people. Hey,
it's such a pinnacle here once again on the grounds.
Absolutely, and you know what? You're absolutely right about it being at the pinnacle, because all year round we get car clubs and motorbike clubs descending upon the museum. They book in and they hold their Christmas functions, their social functions. We have minis at the mill, we had the Ferraris here, drawing a massive crowd a couple of weeks ago. We have all these different clubs coming through 364 days of the year, and mostly on weekends. But the other day we had 143 veteran motorcycles turn up for a lunch break here on their rally. So you're absolutely right. The Bay to Birdwood brings everyone together. Yes. But separately, they attend here all the time. So I think, you know, it's the home base of motoring history, really.
Now, some months ago, I had the liberty of filming an episode in the museum. Now, on next week's show, we're doing part 2 of the episode. There's been some very interesting additions placed in there, right?
Can't wait for you to see it. It's a beautiful exhibition called Reassembled.
Good on you. Always a pleasure. Thank you, Paul.
Great stuff.
Of course, these classic cars, the quality is amazing here at the Bay to Birdwood, to the point where there's 2 categories. On the left-hand side row here, we have the Concours D'elegance. On the right here, we have the preserve cars that are totally original. Nothing has been done to these cars in their lifetime. Just have a look at the quality of some of these cars that have turned up for this year's event. Here we are in the preservation row. How are you, Bernie?
Good, Fletch. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Now, very special car, this one. Look, for a start, a 1968 XT Falcon V8. Yep. It's got a lot of history.
Yeah, it certainly has.
What can you tell us?
Well, it's delivered to Murray Bridge to my grandfather in 68. He ordered it. It is a Falcon, as you said, option to a V8. The story goes, when he got it delivered, it had one V8 badge one side and a 250 badge the other. So he had to take it back to Murray Bridge, and we've got the 250 badge somewhere at home as well. So, yeah, I've got all the original.
To think that the 250 wasn't even out at that point.
No, well, it's I don't know where it was, but this is the first Windsor. Yeah. So Windsor V8 in a Falcon. So it's also automatic on the tree. So pretty rare. It's not a GT, but it's still pretty rare in its own right.
Look, it's still the interesting transition period of the last of the 289 in the XR, as you said, 302, stepping into the XT. Now, back in its time, I mean, as a bog stock standard car, it would have been, well, when I say a gun car, it would have been one of the more powerful ones on the road.
Oh yeah, definitely. As I said, I can remember being a young fella going for a ride, and it was good then. I think it's handling wise, it's obviously not like the new cars, but it still goes really nice. My wife actually says it's beautiful and smooth coming up here today, and it's still got plenty of grunt. So yeah.
When you stop and think about floor pan, and when you think about front end design on these cars, running right through to XF Falcons, that tradition of the Ford front end, the suspension systems, they kept that for so long, and they kept it so long for a reason. It was robust, and the cars, well, they drove nicely, didn't they?
Oh, definitely. As I said, coming up here today, it was just lovely. Like hour just went by before we knew it. So I think it's proven design. Obviously, this is part of the original, but we really like it, and it's great to be a finalist here today.
Bernie, in memory of your grandfather and your family, make sure that you hang on to this car for a very long time. Good on you, Bernie. Well done.
No worries, Fletch. Will do.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons.
We've also got Shannons home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannons.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Australia's changed over the last 80 years, and RYCO Filters has changed with it. But one thing stayed the same: RYCO's commitment to develop and test all our filters under Australian conditions. Today, we're proudly celebrating our 80-year commitment to a design philosophy that ensures all oil, air and fuel filters meet or exceed vehicle manufacturers' specifications, delivering genuine quality and performance you can trust. RYCO Filters, the professional's choice.
If you have a restoration project, HARE&FORBES has the tools that you need. Look at these restoration products: shrinker stretchers, dollies, mallets, bead rollers, profile gauges, professional panel restoration kits, and so much more. Now I warn you, enter at your own risk, because you will end up buying something. So come along to your Cap City store or browse and buy online at machineryhouse.com.au, because HARE&FORBES has the range.
Evans waterless engine coolant. Simple to install and stays good for the life of the engine. Suitable for all engine types, Evans contains no water, eliminating corrosion, vapour pressure and overheating. With a boiling point of 190 degrees Celsius, there's no application or environment too extreme. evanscoolants.com.au. Water for drinking, Evans for cooling.
With me now, Chairman of the Beta Birdwood event, Michael Neal. How are you, Michael?
Great, Fletch. Thank you so much for coming again this year.
That's okay, you've done it again.
It's been a wonderful turnout. We've had 1,750 vehicles, including some motorcycles, some fire trucks, some fantastic cars. It's been a wonderful day.
Isn't it amazing to think that 1,750 vehicles can leave by the water, go through a city, up through the hills, and here we are at Birdwood.
And we could have taken more had we had the capacity to house them here at the National Motor Museum. So more people wanted to come, they just weren't able to book in. We had to cut it off at 1,750, so it's a great event.
Look, the thing is, this type of event could run all week, and I could be turning up here filming every day. You still wouldn't get anywhere near its entirety. The whole thing is a toe in the water, but at least it's an example to show people, I guess, the enormity of this event.
Yeah, and I also think one of the great things about today is we saw some very old people, we saw some very young people, and everybody in between. So this isn't an old man's game. There's a lot of young boys, young women, young girls.
Yes.
everybody is into this. It was a fantastic day.
Yes. And practicing what we preach as well. I mean, a few months ago, you were on Classic Restos and you were seen cruising the streets of Adelaide in your MG.
And I came all the way up in my MG today.
Good
It was great.
Good on you, Michael. Okay, well, you must have a message for 2018.
Well, this is one of the great motoring events, one of the great historic motoring events of the world, and maybe it's time for you to come over and participate in it. Maybe 2018, maybe 2019. Keep an eye on our website.
Good on you, Michael. Been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Fletch. Really appreciate it.
On today's show, I cannot let this guy go. Hello, Paul.
How are you, Fletch?
Good, mate. Look at you. Look how dapper you are. Your suit, your tie, your dapper hat.
60s was the way to be.
Absolutely. And in contrast with a beautiful 1966 Bonneville. What a car.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to own it. I've had it for 7 years now.
Yep.
I brought it over from Minnesota.
Yep.
Shipped it via RYCO on the ships. 3 ships, 20,000 miles. Went around the world.
Yep.
Took 5 months. But got it here and couldn't have been happier.
It can be a little bit stressful while we wait for our cars to arrive from the United States, can't it?
There was about 150 emails and a lot of tracking.
Yep.
And it was a very, very, very long 5 months.
It's an interesting experience. As soon as you get your DOTA's approval and you know that's your import approval, the car's got the tick, yes, can come into the country. It's quite an exciting time, isn't it?
Yeah, it was when it landed and I saw the condition it came in, I couldn't have been happier.
Tell us about the history, Paul. What do you know of the car?
I'm still in email contact with the original owner. He's 82. He bought it in 66 from Cliff Christensen in Minnesota. He drove it for 8 years and then he put it in the shed, 1974. He did 38,000 miles. He got ill in 2004, sold it to another couple in Minnesota. They kept it for 6 years in their heated shed and did 300 miles in it. I got it from them and at 38,000 miles. And that's it. She's totally original, unrestored, original motor, paint, trim, and because she's been in a heated shell her whole life in cold country, it's the condition that she's in.
You know, years ago, I used to hear of the mileage of these American cars at 29,000 and 51,000, and I never believed that. I always thought they'd done the 99,999, done the 100,000, and then gone on. As we move on through and you find out more, these top-end cars, they were never driven. These cars have original mileage, and there are telltale signs. I mean, you can get these cars, they've still got their original shock absorbers in them. It's quite amazing. We're not used to that here in this country. We'd buy a car and we do 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 Ks.
Yeah, unfortunately, the tyres on them are actually 15 years old and they look brand new. In fact, I'm going to have to replace them because the rubber's actually going to perish before they wear out. They seem to buy 2 cars over there. They have a sacrifice car, especially in the colder countries, colder climate. Yep. And keep the good ones in the shed. And the odd Sunday that's nice weather, out she comes.
I actually love what some of them do over there. Their climate control garages in the United States of America. The car is warmer than the people inside in the house.
Yes. I mean, I suppose they need to do that to keep the engines freed up, not to don't freeze the block and that sort of thing. But, we don't hear that sort of thing in Australia.
Pontiac have always built a good car. The GM line of vehicles, especially in the top end, I mean, they have always been a fine range of cars. Buick, Cadillac, list goes on. You've got a splendid example here, Paul. That dashboard. There's something about these Bonneville dashboards. They're big, they're bold. It's like a big wall of stance.
Yeah, no, she's a classy vehicle, and basically it was the top end. It's a GTO, but beautified. It's got the GTO motor in it, so it's got the 389 6.4. It's got the Carter 4-barrel. Yep. Turbo 400, yep. So she gets up and goes, but she's got the luxury.
Yep. It's a great drive line too. I bet it gets up and dances when you jump on it, Paul.
Yeah, she certainly doesn't hang around. Yeah. She's only got the one wheel, but if you hoof on it, she lights it up. So.
Yeah, they're quite amazing. People might think from a distance, that'd be a bit of a slug. Look at the size of it, but it's amazing how they do get up and dance.
Yeah, well, even with the tall diff it's got a 256 diff in it.
Yeah, right.
So I'm doing 100k down the freeway at about 1,000 revs.
256. Wow, that's equivalent to a an overdrive transmission.
Basically, yeah. But she still pulls away from the lights pretty quick.
Good on you, Paul. Could talk about it all day. And again, thank you for hanging around for the interview. I really appreciate it, mate.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll let you get out of this wind. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, bye, mate. Well, there you have it. Just some of the amazing Bay to Birdwood here in South Australia for 2017 done and dusted. And you've seen it first on Classic Restos. Until next week, no matter where you're watching the show from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ClassicRestosTV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, HARE&FORBES Machinery House, RYCO Filters, Evans Waterless Coolants and Pace Farm.